Urban Meyer is now joining us live on the show. By the way, how's Nick Saban doing? I like Nick. Nick has a good sense of humor. What's it like to golf with Saban? Is he kicking the ball when you're not looking, or is he pretty good?
No, he's actually really good. I played with him many times, and he even told me, he said he's lost about 15 yards off his driver a little bit. But he played golf. You can tell he played golf as a kid, someone like me who did not. So, yeah, he's a good golfer.
Good. So I know this freaks people out, but when I saw a story last week in the New York Times about potentially the Big Ten's talking about 24 teams, everybody freaks out. And I said, well, there's one thing I like about it. It makes the committee less relevant. I don't like the committee having any power. Give me more teams and it takes them out of it. I mean, when you hear 24-team playoff, do you blanch at that? Do you go, yeah? Or do you think, well, it's already big. What's wrong with – what was your reaction to it?
Yeah, I think that's too many games, too many teams. I like the idea because I bristled a little bit at 12. I said, there's really not 12 teams that can win it all. I think we're in the golden era of parity in college football. I mean, you had the number 10, Miami, really should have won the game. I was there, and they should have, they could have, and I stood there and watched them warm up. They were a national championship-looking team. So my initial reaction, that's too much, but with what's going on in the world and parity in college football right now, I still think 24 is probably too much. Because I think one thing we better look at is this darn calendar. When you're starting to play games in the 25th of January and you just keep adding games, I think that's a little bit too many games.
Yeah, I think the magic number may be 16, but again, I agree. I was like you. I used to argue I've never heard of a fifth team being worthy of a national championship, but with a transfer portal now, and the thing about the transfer portal, Urban, is that it takes longer to build chemistry. So, I mean, we watched Mendoza in the first month, and the last month, he was a different quarterback. And we watched Miami mid-season to the end of the season. That's a totally different team. So the NIL and transfer portal is the same thing with the New England Patriots. Vrabel goes there, buys a bunch of new players. They're lousy in September. They're in a Super Bowl in February. So college football teams, it's not like you always kind of had a sense in September, kind of what you were. It's like college basketball. You don't know what the hell you have by mid-October. So I argue, to your point, 12 or 14 teams, you think you know who the best team is. You don't really know who it is now, right?
No, there was a day, Colin, you could say the best four. I used to call them the Elite Eight because I'd circle every year. These are the 8 teams, in my opinion, that could go compete for a national title. I thought 8 was a lot. And think about last year, you had the playoff, but then Texas and Notre Dame were not in it, and they certainly could have competed for a championship. So, yeah, I think you can certainly come up with a scenario where 16 legitimate teams can go take a swing at it, which I think is great for college football.
So I'm reading a NFL analyst yesterday, and he said, listen, there's a red flag on Mendoza. He and Justin Fields have the same college numbers. They hold the ball too long. They take too many negative plays. And so I went back and I looked at Mendoza against the very best teams he's played, and he has some negative plays. When you watch Mendoza, your initial instincts, he's not your player, but if you were looking at tape of him like Curt Cignetti did at Cal, do you think those are legitimate criticisms in that he kind of holds on to it? He takes too many negative plays. He's too willing to sit in the pocket and get blistered, which, by the way, everybody loves the courage of that. It's not recommended in pro football. What to you is a red flag with Mendoza? Does he have one?
I get asked about a lot of people, and I know Mendoza. I feel like he is our quarterback because I spent so much time with him. We covered him on Big Noon. We're there. I got to know him. I've talked to him mid-year. Todd McShay and I both said this guy needs to come back for another year. He's not ready. And then he went on a magical run. And I mean, he is more than ready. And once I got to know this guy, I think I compare him to Drake May. I compare him to, I had Alex Smith. I just think the guy's a coach on the field, and the best version of Mendoza we've not seen yet. You look at game 5, 6, and you look at the last 4 games of the season, right? Other than his jersey number and name on the back, he improved that much. And I just love this kid. I like all first picks in the draft. You're going to go, and the Raiders were historically lousy. I mean, Mark Ingram made a comment that's the worst pro football team he's ever seen. So my worry is he gets stuck on a really bad team, and then all of a sudden he gets labeled a bust, which I can't stand that because quarterbacks on bad teams are not busts. They just take turn, until they build that team up around them.
So Mike Elko, coach at Texas A&M, said, and we've talked about this forever, the difference between the NFL and college football is Roger Goodell. The difference between boxing and UFC is Dana White. There's no centralized voice in college football. That's why the schedules are uneven. That's why Fox and ESPN we have, Elko basically says, you got to get somebody to run this thing. It's $1 billion business. Why wouldn't you or Nick Saban? Why wouldn't you be interested to just, Saban and you both ran massive college football programs. You're very good at broadcasting. If you had to elect somebody, is there somebody out there? Would you be interested in being that guy?
I would not. I should ask Coach Saban on the third hole or fourth hole the other day if he'd be interested in doing that. I would imagine not, but who knows? I know he loves the game, and we spent a lot of that day talking about how to improve it. And the only comment I would say is that you're going to need agreement for everybody to go and cooperate and say we're going to actually listen, because right now the last thing that college football needs is more rules. The rules are in place. Now they're not enforced. So it's like a big city where all of a sudden you have laws that no one's enforcing the laws. It's chaos. College football is chaos right now. And it's not because we need more laws or more rules. The rules are in place. You're not allowed to tamper. You're not allowed to spend over this amount of money. You're not allowed to do this, but people do it and there's no recourse. So I think Coach Elko's got a great idea. I think in the perfect world that happens and everybody lives underneath those set of rules. But to say we need more rules, Colin, every rule is in place right now to have a functioning game behind the scenes, but there's no enforcement arm, zero.
So I'm looking at the first round, and Caleb Downs is going pro, and Reese is, and Styles, and Tate. Man, there's a lot of guys. It's been a talent drain. Now, Ohio State recruits at a very high level. Nobody disputes that. But we saw it this year with Alabama. You start losing this guy. Suddenly Alabama doesn't have a run game. They run out of running backs. So even for Alabama, I saw Georgia this year, and you're like, well, they don't have the pass rushers they used to. Georgia, they don't have that second corner like they used to. When you look at Ohio State with all these great first-round picks the last several years, do you worry that there's going to be a year or a moment where you're like, guys, the Big Ten's never been better. USC is going to be better. Michigan absolutely is going to be better. Oregon's going to be Dante Moore comes back. Indiana now is a powerhouse. Do you worry about the Buckeyes' personnel losses?
I do. And I talked to Coach Day. Obviously, I'm very close with him. And I said, what's the biggest difference? And he said, the biggest difference is when Zeke Elliott went down, we had Curtis Samuel. When Curtis Samuel went down, you had J.K. Dobbins. We stockpiled guys. There is depth behind your guys. And so if something happened to that player, or the reality is when players are playing 80 plays or 75, that's too much. And when there's a huge difference between your starter and your backup and your three, like I had a bunch of good players. When I wanted to give Zeke a break, I jogged Curtis Samuel on the field. When I wanted to give him a break, hey, JK, I know you're young, but come on in here. So we were, you just get loaded up, and Alabama was that way. And what you're seeing is that's no longer the case because they leave. People are offering them more money to play starter money at Indiana, starter money at Texas Tech, starter money at whoever, Duke, and they're going. And I don't blame them. So that's the big, and that came right from Coach Day, and I get it. And other guys have said that as well. Yeah.
Did you ever, before a draft, did you ever sit down with players and say, hey, listen, you're going to be famous, you're going to get rich? Now, the NIL, actually, one of the things I love about the NIL, players get a taste of money before they get a bunch of money. And so it's not like you go from can't afford pizza on campus to, you could buy 6 Mercedes. It's like you get a little bit of money and you're like, okay, I gotta be a grown up. And if you make mistakes, you're still in college. You got, you're going to eat, you're going to be fine. You got support. What would you, when kids didn't have NIL, or did you ever give them pre-draft or pre-NFL advice? Did they come into your office and say, hey, be careful about this and be careful about that?
I did, or especially early in my career when you had that kind of relationship with a player. What happened is I got older and the agents became their best friends. So, I mean, they never met the agent, and then all of a sudden the coaches are out, the family's out, and this agent is controlling everything. So it really changed probably the last 5 or 6 years of my career, where when you had these Zeke Elliott, Joey Bosa, Nick Bosa, all these guys, and you want to start having these conversations with them, and you do, but they're gone. They leave in January, and they go to these, to the sites with their agents and train for the combine, they give them fiscal training or, financial training. They give them all that. So it's really not like it used to be, but that used to be a big part of our deal, is preparing these guys for life after the NFL. But that really changed when everyone started getting these agents, and the agents would just take over that.
Hey, I love Curt Cignetti, but I would argue, I was banging on, Shanks loves Indiana, and I had to just have a talking to with him and say, hey, you got to settle down. So the year before Mendoza got there, they lost games, and they did a lot of beating up on Western Illinois and a lot of these lower-ranked schools, and so everybody said, oh, they got the second best offense in the country. Then they played Notre Dame in the playoff, and they couldn't do anything. So they were a bit of a fraud. And then this year, they weren't. They were very good. But I argued this. If you take Mendoza out, they do not beat Ohio State. They don't beat Miami. I don't know if they win at Outta, and they were
Penn State. They lose to Penn State.
They lose to Penn State, and I don't know if they beat Iowa. I think they were tied with Iowa in the fourth. So my take is this idea that Indiana now is Ohio State's rival. And I'm like, let's slow down. Mendoza changed everything. I like Indiana, and they're going to have better players. Ohio State's got way better players, and their quarterback's better. So have we gone a little crazy because it was a magical season, but Cignetti, they couldn't move the ball when they played Notre Dame and Ohio State, pre-Mendoza. They weren't moving the ball up and down the field. They were like every other team that faced Ohio State and Notre Dame. They couldn't move the ball. Have we gone a little crazy on the Indiana, putting them now as a top 5 program in the country?
We're out of our minds, but I am too. I mean, because I witnessed it. I will not bet against Indiana. I kept waiting for that house of cards to fall, and it never did. And I watched them, and you could say it was Mendoza because he did. I agree with it, but that's the case with a lot of schools if you don't have a star quarterback like that. But I'm telling you, they had one fumble in game 1. They didn't fumble again the rest of the year. They gave up the fewest big plays in college football. They had one of the least penalized teams. So I'm banking on that coaching staff to keep them going. Are they Ohio State? No. I don't know if they'll ever be Ohio State because, Ohio State's one of the top 3 or 4. But Indiana has certainly solidified themselves as a top 10. If they get a great quarterback again, I think they'll be pretty close. It's an amazing story. Amazing.
I mean, Michigan's not Ohio State. They think they are, but they're not. That's Michigan.
You said that, not me. That's good.
I just said it to be obnoxious. They're pretty close. All right.
Plus, they got my friend coaching them now. They got my friend coaching them.
Kyle Whittingham. That's right.
Great football coach. Elite.
No nonsense. No nonsense. No BS with that. Plus, everybody's like, oh, he's an older coach. You know what? Kyle's like a workout guy. He's a very young, whatever he is. He's
a 50 going on 67, but he told me this. I talked to him not too long ago. He says, we got a hungry group, man. He loves his team. I was like, really? Yeah, he loves that team already. Interesting.
All right. Keep enjoying your golf. Say hi to Nick Saban next time you golf with him. I appreciate that. I love Nick. I think Nick's a good time. All right, Coach.
Take care.
Good seeing you.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoy that clip, make sure you click subscribe somewhere down here. From game highlights to exclusive interviews and rankings, we've got everything you need as a college football fan right here, College Football on Fox.